Go.
Welcome to the second edition of the Josh Widman Basketball Show. This week, my guest is Brett Mayerson. Brett, how are we doing today?
Good, Josh. How about you?
I'm doing all right. So, with college basketball not yet underway, there isn't really much to talk about, but the preseason top 25 is out, and the UNC Tar Heels right now are at the number 1 spot, defending champions, Duke Blue Devils at the number 7 spot. Anything else to add?
Number 2, University of Maryland, who has not been ranked in basketball in God knows how long.
They were ranked last year for a decent amount.
Yeah, not for long enough. The Kentucky Wildcats, last year's number 1,
right,
after losing all their players, now moving down to number 3.
And totally retooling.
However, they still seem like they're going to get it done.
NJ's own and Isaiah Briscoe playing point with Tyler Eulis.
And number 4 and 5 schools, University of Kansas Jayhawks.
Well, I'm not surprised. They always have a top 10 team.
And number 5.
They don't really do much education out there.
Yeah,
it's all
exactly.
basketball.
Same with Kentucky.
Yeah.
And number 5, the UVA Cavaliers.
Yeah. Cavaliers winning both the college ranks and the professional ranks. And what a segue that was, because now we're going to talk about the NBA. So, in the East, Cavs are running ship as usual. They got one loss. I believe it's 8-1 with they're playing the Knicks on the 13th. I'm going with my dad. It's gonna be sick. Cavs gonna blow them out by 30. You know.
Good for you.
So the Warriors are the lone undefeated team at the time of this show, at the time of this taping, and the Sixers are winless. The Pelicans got their first win. The Brooklyn Nets got their first win, and yeah.
Let's talk about the Nets' win last night for a little bit, actually. The Nets beating the Houston Rockets, one of the top teams in the NBA at the moment, with James Harden on that team. James Harden dropped over 20 points, as usual, of course. Also had 3 beautiful assists to Dwight Howard. And Bojan Bogdanovic carrying the Nets team with 22 points. Brook Lopez with 14 points and 12 rebounds. Joe Johnson with 10 assists. Can the Nets use this effort all year?
That's not gonna happen. Joe Johnson, I don't know how he's still alive. He's what, 37, 36, 35?
He looks younger.
He's getting up there. There's the whole Nets team. That's gonna be a lottery team for a while, but you don't have a first round draft pick, so I guess not.
And Billy Kingston. What else?
So we're about a week and a half into the season. Each team's played roughly 10 games. Who do you think's been the best surprise team so far?
Best surprise? I mean, I really have not been shocked by anybody, to be quite honest. I mean, I really think that every team that was expected to be good has been good. I actually think a surprise to me was the Knicks, because a lot of people are saying, a lot of NBA analysts are saying the Knicks can actually sneak into that number 8 seed in the East with how weak it is, because of one man by the name of Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah, so Porzingis gets that typical big guy injury with his foot, and then it's never the same. But yeah, I mean, I have to say that the Knicks have been the best surprise so far, because they're around 500. Porzingis is playing out of his mind so far, and they look half decent. They don't look that bad. They've been competitive. They took the Cavs to the brink. They had leads in the second half, I think. They're playing well. I think that it's a good sign. I don't know how long it's going to last, but it's a good sign.
I mean, if they do make the playoffs, though, I know it's a long while away.
Right.
But if they did make it, they wouldn't go far.
No, they're getting knocked out by the Cavs.
They'd be against the number 1 seed, which would most likely be the Cavs, unless someone else emerges. But I mean, the Knicks, all the Knicks fans were booing when Porzingis was drafted because they wanted...
Well, that's what the Knicks always do. They booed Gallinari, too.
But they wanted Justice Winslow. The only guy that they'd actually...
I wouldn't take Winslow because he got Melo.
I know, and the Heat needed him more. But the only person that they've actually applauded getting drafted by the Knicks in the past few years was Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yeah.
Now he's no longer a Knick. So
Atlanta.
He's in Atlanta, yeah, with a great core of players like Jeff Teague and Kyle Korver. But the Knicks, after the Knicks fans booing Kristaps Porzingis, he comes out, uses that as motivation, and shows why he's in the NBA.
Yeah. Who do you think's been the biggest surprise on the down end? So a team that hasn't performed up to par yet.
I gotta say New Orleans. I mean, everyone thought New Orleans would be one of those teams that was playing for the future, because they used to have a lot of veterans on the team, a lot of old guys. Like they had Jarrett Jack for a while. They had some other guys. They all let them go. They got a lot of good draft picks, and they ended up with Anthony Davis, which is a huge draft pick. And they ended up, and now they have Lance Stevenson, who's pretty. Actually, that's Lance
Stevenson's in Charlotte.
That's Charlotte.
In LA.
Yeah.
with the Clippers.
No, and then the Hornets got Anthony Davis. Everyone thought Davis was going to be the guy who's going to take the Pelicans far. He did take them to the playoffs last year. They did lose in the first round, but I just thought they'd be better by now.
Yeah,
honestly, the Pelicans. I just thought they'd be so much better.
I think the Clippers
They're
and
young,
the King. I think the Clippers and the Kings are disappointing so far.
I didn't think the Clippers. I did not think the. I didn't think the Kings would do anything.
The Clippers, like, they're still obviously one of the West's best teams, but like I feel like they should be better.
But they always start off slow.
Yeah,
they always do.
Chris Paul's getting up there. You gotta get him out of the second round sooner or later before he can't.
They still have DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin.
And then the Kings, like I'm not saying that. I think they'd be a playoff team if they were in the East, honestly, because they're loaded with talent. You got DeMarcus Cousins, you got Rajon Rondo, you got Ben McLemore, you got Rudy Gay. That's a solid. That's better than half the teams in the East right there. And they got a solid bench too.
Well, I mean, Rondo the past 2 years, I feel like when he was on the Celtics, those were his best years.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like after he left Boston, he was never the same again.
But still, Rondo is Rondo. He
doesn't score, but he dishes out.
He can still average 12 assists a game. Like, they're disappointed because they got a little rift going on between Cousins and Carl, which they thought would hopefully be solved. But I think, honestly, this is another coach that DeMarcus Cousins has, struggled with. So I think it's time to move on from him instead of firing, I think, their third coach. Because George Karl, clearly not the problem. He's had success in the past. So I think it's time to move on from DeMarcus Cousins if this doesn't work itself out by the end of by the deadline. And yeah, it'd be similar to the Knicks. Because they have a couple solid pieces, but like the Western Conference, you're not going to stand a chance. Minnesota. In 3 years, Minnesota will be a top 3 team in the East.
I might have to agree with you on that with the draft picks that they have coming in, and plus Andrew Wiggins just being Andrew Wiggins. But I still am. It's really depressing to see a team like the LA Lakers, who for so many years were a basketball powerhouse,
right,
under Phil Jackson, all the great coaches that they had, and Kobe not being able to stay healthy. Nick Young not stepping up like everyone expected him to, and D'Angelo Russell being a rookie who hasn't really grown into the NBA yet.
Right.
I mean, what's next for the Lakers?
Well, I mean, as a fan of a small market team, I kind of like to see the big boys go down every once in a while. So, I mean, I just hope Kobe balls out because, honestly, I think if he'd stayed healthy the past 2 years, that he would have a chance this year to break the scoring record, but unfortunately, he's getting old. No one beats Father Time. Father Time's undefeated.
I think it's time for him to retire, honestly.
Didn't he say he's retiring after this year?
He said he was, but I think he said that numerous times and he's come back, so I don't know if he's gonna.
Alright.
He'll be like Michael Jordan with 2 retirements.
Right. But Michael Jordan also retired a lot earlier the first time.
Yeah.
And that's it for the second edition of the Josh Bowden Basketball Show. I promise you next time we'll have more content once college basketball tips off and the NBA gets a little bit further down the road.
And our local college teams kicking off this week. We got the Ivy League Princeton Tigers, the Seton Hall Pirates of the Big East, and the Rutgers Scarlet Knights of the Big Ten.
All very not solid teams. That's Brett Marison. I'm Josh Whippen. We out.